Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another Dokkan Battle video, and today we're going to be talking about this guy. I've been waiting to talk about him for a little bit, but now it's really close now. They have advertisements on, or like posts on Twitter now for this guy, revealing official information about this guy. And if you're watching my content from Brave Exvius, you may know that sometimes they put over, JP units to global and they buff them up. In this game, they don't do that at all. I think there's been like one or two instances where they may have done something. They changed the unit slightly, I believe. Don't quote me on that, just from what I remember. But they don't buff units at all. Even though this guy actually came out before the Time Traveler-esque Future Saga Red Zone came out. So this guy was built for content that was not that yet, but this guy's coming out now. So, what is the hubbub about? Is he actually worth it? Let's find out. I'm going to try to be as objective as possible, but, I mean, it's kind of hard to be with this guy, but we're going to see what we can do. So, already a big red flag and a kind of a downturn. He doesn't raise defense on regular super attack. He only raises defense for one turn on an ultra super. So that's already a not so good thing. And then when you see the passive here, usually it's like a paragraph, paragraph long, a giant paragraph. You have to, scroll to see the whole thing. But this guy doesn't have very much. So key +5, which is decent actually, because usually units only have key +3. Attacking defense 150% at start of turn. Pretty standard actually. Usually LRs have this amount of stats. It's pretty standard. Gain an additional attack and defense 100% when launching a super attack if there's one enemy. Okay, not too bad. If there are two more enemies, gain an additional key +5. So your boys are going to lose out on that. This passive here, this attacking defense 30% for every enemy that exists. Has second enemy. You're never going to see that unless you're fitting something that has like that one metal cooler boss event that has like a whole bunch of metal coolers over and over and over again. This guy would actually be pretty good in that, I think, because he'd get a lot of stats from that. Speaking of stats, that's how this guy really is. He's just stats. And some people may hit a big beat stick, but literally all this guy is just a beat stick. Gain an additional key +5 and attack 59% for the rest of the battle when landing a finishing blow. You're most likely not going to be having that. Finishing blow is a terrible mechanic. And if you're getting this, if you're doing that finishing blow, you're probably winning anyways. You're probably all set up for the next phase anyways. So it's really not that big of a deal. Like at least it's the weakest of the buffs. Because it's like you could live without the key +5. And I mean, it would be nice, but you could live without it. And then an additional attacking defense 100% when a key at 25 or more. It's possible, but that's a lot of key, but it is possible. So far, he really isn't impressive whatsoever. I'm trying my best because I think that this is good in some things. Like I mentioned, that one stage is really painful and it takes forever, and that one metal cooler stage, it takes forever to do it. You have to keep clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking at that thing that keeps coming up. He would probably be really, really good in that because I think he could take, if you use items, I think he could tank just fine. The later stages even. But other than that, I don't see a use for him. And I know there's supposed to be some kind of event that he goes with for you get some rewards and stuff that's coming out soon. But you're not pulling this guy for one small event. That's just a little silly. And if they expected you to pull this guy just for one event, that's just really silly. Alright, so Super Spirit Bomb, all it does is just do some damage. And then you can use it when you're... That's not too bad though. Although you have to be 59% or lower or 5 turns. And there's only one enemy. So, not the best. It doesn't really do... all it does is just do damage. It doesn't like skip like one of their actions or something like that. All it does is just does damage. Now, it's ultimate damage, which is good. But it's still just damage. It doesn't do anything. There's absolutely zero utility in this guy at all. Like, I'm trying my best to be fair, but when would you ever bring this guy to anything? When would you ever need anything that he has besides AoE? because he does have AoE on his Ultra Super here. But there's tons of other AoE units that you could bring instead. I just don't know what they were thinking when they made this guy, because I was really excited to see a Tree of Might movie celebration, and you know, Turle has big L on him, unfortunately, and then we have another big L with this guy, so I tried my best to be fair with him, but he's just a big L. Like, if you pull this guy, you may as well just put an L in your forehead, because you just pulled this guy. And so, he just had movie here, of course he does. Last Resort, I never heard of that. Maybe these are like, where's Razor? Maybe these are like old, maybe these are like JP categories and they're not translated to English or something. I think Warriors Raised on Earth is something else, but Pure Saiyans, of course he is, you know, Bond of Friendship, okay. Of course Bond of Friendship because he's fighting for his friends that get their butts kicked. So, Bond of Parent or Child, of course, because, you know, he had to wrestle around with, Gohan when he's in his prime state. So there's that as well. Turtle School, because it's still like the timeline for this movie is still like pretty early. So yeah. Anyways, enough with that. His Link buddies. No, there's this 8-year LRs. Yes. And you're never going to use that Goku, that other INT Goku there, you're never going to use him. Because that is the Vegeta slash Goku LR that, you know, the Saiyan, or the Planet Namek saga. And you have to revive in order to get that transformation, and that's not very fun to get. He has share 6 links, but it's just like, and you're not using that next Goku, that physical one, no way. And you're not using the STR one in the next one either. The tech one, yeah, fine. I actually haven't used them in a while now, but I used to use them all the time. Hopefully they get an easy A at some point. Hopefully it's a good easy A. And then you're not really using a lot of these characters. You may use this guy, this INT Gohan. You're probably going to use this tech Gohan and Goku. I brought them to the hardest content. They can still do it. You may bring this AGL Goku. You maybe, I don't know. This guy here. I do think that this STR Super Saiyan Goku is actually pretty underrated. I do like using him every now and then. And then of course the Carnival Goku you're going to bring along to anything. But all in all, I think this guy is definitely really bad. And I think he's definitely the worst LR of this year so far. We don't know the rest of the year yet, but it's a pretty safe bet to say that this is the worst LR we've had this year. Maybe there's someone that you think is worse, but in my opinion, if I had like the top 5 worst LRs of like 2021 to 2023, this guy would be on it, because in context of this year, he doesn't do anything that you would want to bring him for. He literally does nothing. You'd rather bring him. You'd rather bring this guy. This guy does so much more. He has so much utility. He has a revive. He can guard. He can raise his he stacks defense on his Ultra Super. He lowers defense in certain situations. Maybe that'll work. And also he has a disable delay on his active skill. So like, this is the kind of thing that you would want to bring along with you. Like, this guy is so much older as well. He's like over a year old in comparison to this guy, and I would never bring him to anything. So that's my assessment. Pretty long video. Apologies for that, but yeah, I would not pull, especially since we know that the full power Super Saiyan Goku is like, it's coming pretty soon. And yeah, I know his banner's not really that good. Let's look at it. I believe this is the original, the one that comes up first for him. And I believe the baby is just okay. Of course you have the main star, this guy, and then, I mean, it's not the worst. I saw people saying that this banner was terrible. You have the INT, Gogeta, who, even without an EZA, is still pretty solid. You have Pan, who fell off a little bit, but it's kind of fun to use her. You have VNT, you have the Gamma package. The one down there is kind of stinky, I admit that much. The blue, the physical blues at the bottom there, that's kind of stinky. You don't want to pull those. But the rest would not be too bad to pull. So Spanner's not the worst of all time. I wouldn't say it's the worst of all time. And then this one's later, I think. I think this one's later. I might be confused, but this one's looking a little bit better because there's VNT and the 8-year LRs. So I believe this one will be coming just like VNT last year, where there was an original banner for them, and then later on they were featured again with a much better banner with the 7-year LRs on it. So it's very similar to this. So I think these banners are much better than the Goku. Okay, we're going way out of the scope of this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Appreciate ya. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.